Welcome to Tai Chi. Let's warm up. Hands at your waist, turn your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stretch your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Expand your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Waist exercise. Interlock those fingers. Turn at the hips and waist as you keep your arms closer to your ears. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Airplane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Touch toe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kick your foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kick your butt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Heisman. Opening up your span, parallel feet. Choose one side, cross and sit on that side. Good Tai Chi posture, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cross and sit on that side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Short one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dropping those shoulders, tucking your butt, hollowing out your chest, opening up your span, tongue on your palate. How do we be a good golden cockerel? Think it through. Shift your weight, center, counterbalance, up and down. Last set. Kicking out. Shift weight to the left. Right hand on the outside. Right foot coming up, kicking out in line as you watch it. Last set. Holding your ball on a T stance. Root down with that energy on the back foot. Out in an L. Move that ball. Bow stance with a good stretch. Sit back and lower. Pivot, root down on a T, out on an L, move that ball, part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, lower, pivot, hold your ball, move that ball in an L, bow stance, get a good bow and arrow. Sit back, lower, root down on a T, out on an L, part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, lower, parallel higher on a T, multitasking to brush your knee. Out on an L, move that hand. Move the energy as you brush your knee. Sit back, lower, pivot, parallel higher. Ear, hand, heel, turn the hips and waist, hands go for the ride. Sit back, lower, pivot, parallel higher on a T, all together as you brush your knee. Sit back, lower, pivot, parallel higher, smooth all your movements out as you brush your knee. Sit back, lower, T stance, hold your ball, out and to the side, part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, lower, pivot, hold your ball on the T, out and to the side, part the wild horse's mane. Flip the forward hand, join it with the back hand. Today's lesson. Sit back, sit down. Pivot at 12 o'clock, stem cup. Pivot out with your left heel to the 9 o'clock. Flip the hands, close the feet. Two things happen at 9. Middle or cup at 12. 3 o'clock, two things happen. Open and flip. 9 o'clock, only one thing happens. Middle cup at 12. 3 o'clock, two things happen. Close the hands, flip the feet. 12 o'clock, stem cup. 9 o'clock, flip hands, open your step. Middle cup. 3 o'clock, only flip the hands. Middle cup, shift weight to the left, up, golden cockerel. Down, shift weight up, golden cockerel on its right. Shift weight, center, right foot coming up, kick out in line. Shift weight to the right, center, kick out left. Next week's lesson, holding your ball on a T stance, out on an L, push your opponent away. Turn your hips and waist, reposition your hands as you grasp the bird's tail, look back. Contact, push in the middle of your body, separate your hands and roll back. And spiral forward. Sit down, sit back, twist. Left hand on the bottom to hold your ball on a T stance. We're going to ward off. Out on an L, push your opponent away by using your forearm. Turn your hips and waist and grasp the bird's tail. Contact, push in the center. Roll back. And roll forward. Sit back, lower, pivot. Open pivot. In pivot. Off the ground to embrace the tiger, pulling him up. Palms are facing you as you bring it in. Push out, final movement to drop your shoulders. Make yourself small as you flex your knees. Up on your heel, off the ground, toe down, closing form. Okay, so you can see that as we strung everything along, we're nearing the end, okay? So today's lesson is cloud hands. So we said that we're looking at a huge round clock, taking special note of the 12, 6 o'clock in the middle, and the 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock, okay, at the quarter points. So instead of doing on a T-step, L stance, and bow stance, we are going in a sideways motion using our toe to guide our movements. So can you do it with me to understand what I'm saying? We're at 50-50. We're going to have movement, so we're going to flex our knees slightly, shift our weight to the right as our left foot can come up to its toe. Off the ground, toe down, slowly heel down 50-50 while the heel comes up to the toe, opens, down, left heel up, across, down, heel up to the toe. Toe leads the movement. As soon as we advance, it's the toe that comes down. Heel comes up to the toe, off the ground, toe down, heel down. Up heel, on the toe, toe leads the movement. Let's go the other way. Up with the heel, on the toe, move it in, toe, heel. Heel, toe, open, toe, heel. Heel, toe, move in, toe, heel, heel up, on the toe, lead with your toe. So in doing this crab walk, walking, we are leading with our toe and not with our heel, not with our heel, okay? Which is very, to me, more difficult to do. Mainly because the heel has more weight, whereas if you're on your toe, it's pretty weightless when you get to your big toe. Then that's an advancing motion right there. We are going parallel in that our feet at all times are not doing this, which is, to me, very difficult, okay? Because your feet should be always parallel, 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 okay? All right. The width in which you take those steps should be shoulder width. So, shoulder, shoulder, rather than huge and then lose your Tai Chi posture, okay? So if that is a good and easy movement with your feet, our hands now will enhance our feet. And I say hands out of expediency, but it's really what? My hips and waists, the commander of our motions. So if you can stand there to show me that you understand that the hips and waists help me to get out to 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, right? So then we say, yeah, my hips and waists are obeying my mind, because my mind says, she says, use the hips and waists to make the movements. Now we say we have hands, okay? So our hands can be any old way, but one at 3 o'clock for you folks, okay? Go 3 o'clock and then just move your hips and waists. And don't worry about the motion of the cloud. Hey, what's happening? Your hands are following your hips and waists, right? And if you go way beyond 9 o'clock, or you're 9 o'clock, your hands take you all the way beyond 3 o'clock, right? Every time you make an extreme on your hips and waists, the hands seem to follow and do the same thing that's directed by your hips and waists, okay? So we know that cloud hands is a motion like all Tai Chi, not a hand motion, but something directed with our hips and waist. Our whole body is in play. The hands for Tai Chi in cloud hands is very specific. No two hands can be at the same level. One has to be higher, one has to be lower, but they alternate, okay? They alternate. Besides alternating, we can see the top hand always the palm, whereas the bottom hand, we can only see it when it takes the top position. Opposites attract, okay? So those are some of the parameters. Something always happens at 3 o'clock and something always happens at 9 o'clock. But two things happen at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Two things happen. Not only your hands, something happens with your hands, but something happens with your feet, okay? So let's see what it is. If we're at 3 o'clock and the left hand, I'll position you, the left hand is higher, the palm is facing you. The right hand is lower, palm is away. This is 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, we're gonna open. At 9 o'clock, two things happen. We flip the hands, we join the feet. At 3 o'clock, two things happen. We flip the hands, we open the feet. 9 o'clock, flip the hands, join the feet. Okay, so that's what I mean when two things happen. Okay, now you say, well, you didn't tell us what to do with our hands. You recall that in our primer last week, we said that we are looking not only at the rounded clock for our numbers, but we're looking at an elongated rectangle with not sharp corners, but rounded corners, as if it were an ellipse. So something happens to the corners. We don't just come up and make it straight. We don't just come down and make it as straight as we can. But what we do is we just flow nicely, using not our hands, but our body, our waist. And all we do is we set up our hands and they move, our body, our waist moves for us, okay? So if you can picture something that's long and rounded, like an ellipse, what you then have to remember is that at the extreme of 3 o'clock, the hands change positions. The bottom hand comes down, the top hand comes down, the bottom hand comes up. Then remember that you're at 12 o'clock, stem and cup. Holding a cup, or your hand is cup, the stem of your arm is facing at the 12 o'clock position downwards. At 9 o'clock, two things happen. You flip the hand and the bottom hand comes up and the palm is always facing you on the top hand. The top hand turns the corner while the bottom hand comes up. The top hand now shows me my palm. I'm using my hips and waists. 3 o'clock, the top hand comes down. The bottom hand shows me my palm. 12 o'clock, stem cup. 9 o'clock, top hand goes down. Bottom hand comes up. So there's a pattern. And the pattern mainly is hips and waists do the work. Hips and waists, are they doing your work? Ask yourself. Now flip. Now flip. So we shouldn't worry too much about our hands. They are going for the ride. If you can get that done very well, you are doing Tai Chi. If you're worried so much about your hands and forgetting about your hips and waists, that's not so good, okay? Not so good. All right. So, yeah, if Ken were up here, he would tell you that they're egg beaters. They're egg beaters, going in a rounded motion, but beating in an opposite way. He would also say that you're like reading the top line of your newspaper, flipping the paper, turning the page, reading the other side, so on and so forth. So those are good images that you can think about while you're doing clouds. Then you get beyond that point and you say, hey, I'm just being clouds. I'm just using my hips and waists. I'm being soft, I'm floating, I'm non-stopping, and you're in cloud 9, you know, you get to that point where you feel so relaxed, okay? But right now we're kind of uptight because we're saying, hey, I don't really get what my hands are supposed to do. But remember, the primary thing about cloud hands is you've got to make sure that you warmed up your hips and waists so well. They're doing everything for you and giving you that sense of relaxation that you want, okay? It becomes a slight challenge when we join our feet with our hands, like everything else. Remember, it's easy to get to your ear down, but yet when we have to step out, we kind of forget about our hands and we think about our feet, or vice versa. Same thing occurs, okay? And that's part of Tai Chi, and once you get over that hurdle, you say, oh wow, it's so easy, you know? But we have to be challenged, okay? All right, so we're gonna try to perfect our cloud now, okay? I'm gonna turn this way, and we're going this way, okay? And at a certain point, we're gonna change our, from right to left, okay? Left hand higher, palms showing you. Right hand lower, palms away. 12 o'clock, stem cup open. Shift weight to the left to 9 o'clock. Flip the hands. Close the feet. Stem cup when 2 feet are together. 1, 2, 3 o'clock. Flip the hands, open the feet. Stem cup, almost 50-50. Shift weight to the left. What happens? You need security. You're going to close your feet. Stem cup, 50-50. 1, 2, 3 o'clock. Oh, I'm going to fall off, so I've got to get my feet open, my foot open. I'm going to fall off the earth. I'm going to flip the hands, close the feet for security. 3 o'clock is my extreme again. Extreme again. Let's go the other way. How do we go the other way? We'll stay here for one time more. Now, here's 9 o'clock. We're going to have to open. 2 things happen at 3. Flip and close. Stem cup, 12. 9 o'clock, 2 things happen. Are you using your hips and waist? Where are your eyes? Are they looking at your person in front of you? Or the better way to look, proper way to look, is look at the tips of your fingers of your top hand and look beyond the tips out into infinity to get that sensation that you are really, we're going the other way, clouds. And later on, you can perfect that ellipse, okay? But mainly know that the hips and waists are driving force behind those floating hands. Let's pick it up a little the pace a little more so you can see that you can really float and dance. Use your hips and waists. Never mind about your hands for now, okay? Hips and waists. Turn the other way. The music's there for your cloud. Relax. This is what Tai Chi is all about. We don't have to remember too many rules. We need some enjoyment, okay? Other way. So when you're home, put on some music. Get some enjoyment. Get some relaxation. Show the world that you know how to do Tai Chi, okay? So too many times we're in class and I give you a whole bunch of 100 rules and you say, oh, forget it. I can't remember even one rule. Okay, so now you don't have to remember any rules except use your hips and waists, spin around, you know, have some enjoyment. Once you realize that your hips and waists do the job for you, the hands are duck soup, real duck soup. Then you say, it's not that really duck soup because I don't know what to do with the extremes. But you know what? It comes out in the final run of it, because remember, we're going to go back to the ellipse and we're going to think about those egg beaters and we're going to think about that newspaper reading. And hey, half the battle's won because I'm using my hips and waists. And it's almost as if the hands are just naturally coming down and taking turns, right? And I can see that you are doing it, trying to figure it out, getting some enjoyment, and that's what it's all about, okay? So when we think about Tai Chi and we remember seeing our first performance of someone, we say, wow, that is so relaxing. And it was probably cloud hands that you saw if there was any one particular move. Cloud hands appears in the 3 yang forms that we do teach. So it's, you know, it's a basic movement. The problem or the challenge comes when we have to get into the movement and get out of the movement. All day long, we cannot just be clouds, right? Although it feels good. But there are certain parameters in which to get into it and get out of it. So we're gonna really dig down deeper now, okay? So cloud hands comes between parting of the wild horse's mane and golden cockerel. So let's start from Yang Ten form right away, and then we'll get to where we want to be, okay? Good Tai Chi posture, dropping those shoulders, thinking of good thoughts, commencing form. Shift weight to the right, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 off the ground, open, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, hands rotate. Take a deep breath in as we elevate both hands. Shoulder level, drop your shoulders, make yourself small, flex your knees. Repulsing of the monkey. Center the front hand, right hand up higher, open to the ceiling. Glancing at it as you bring it closer to your ear. Turn your head and neck. As you repulse the monkey, pushing out, pushing forward. Center, up higher, glance, looking at the backhand, bringing it closer to the area of your ear, turning your head and neck. Repulse the monkey. 2. T stance, parallel higher. Multitask, ear, heel, hand, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee, hands go for the ride. Sit back lower, pivot, parallel higher on a T, ear, heel, hand, L stance, bow stance. Sit back, lower, pivot, center with a ball and a T, out and to the side, part the wild horse's mane. Here's your snack. Sit back, lower, pivot, center with a ball and a T, out in an L. Here's your bow stance. Flip the forward hand, join it with the back hand. This is the transition into cloud hands. You're on a bow stance. Your hands are positioned so that the right hand palms cannot be seen and is higher. Left hand palm is shorter, lower, and palm can be seen. We're going to sit back, lower. Not doing anything with your hands because your hands are directed by your hips and waist. Pivot. Hands are at 12 o'clock. All you have to do is create a cup, okay? Because it's a stem and a cup. So that bottom hand, which is the right hand, just slowly got into a cup position. I'm in this awkward position. Do not correct it. Everybody have a left foot? You know where it is? Do you have a left heel? Put the weight on the left heel. So what happens if the weight is on the left heel, the toes are rise or above the floor, right? You're on the heel. Pivot out to the what? 9 o'clock. What happens? I firm down my feet. My hands went for a ride to 9 o'clock. 2 things happen. Flip the hands, close the feet. Right hand higher, left hand lower. What number now? No number? All right. Stem and cup. What number? Flip the hand, open the feet. What number? Nut number. 2 things happen. Good. Here comes 12 o'clock. Here comes 3 o'clock. 2 things happen. Okay, we're ready for a change because we said we can't go on forever. 9 o'clock, we only flip the hands. We're going the other way now. Here's 12, stem cup. 3 o'clock, 2 things happen. Flip the hands, close the feet. Middle cup. 9 o'clock, flip the hands open. Stem cup at 12. We're getting out of cloud hands. Therefore, at 3 o'clock, we only flip. What are we going to do? Shift, go to 12 o'clock, shift the weight to the left, center ourselves, and instead of doing 2 things, we turn ourselves into a golden cock. Hey, that's pretty magical. Do you see that your body naturally went for that because you were shifting your weight? So this is what you did, okay? The opposite. You look for all the things that I called out. Hey, wasn't that something very smooth? Could have been smoother, yeah, but it almost flowed into golden cockle. And here we are in our warm-ups thinking, oh, what are we gonna do? Put this here, and then, hey, this thing just brought us like magic, right? So that's what Tai Chi is, and that's what you're doing, okay? And it'll get better over time. Yeah, it'll get better over time, right? Yes, of course, of course. Okay, any questions? You like to do magic? I do. All right. So, in a nutshell, that's what cloud hands is. It's a real good movement that gives you a real sense of relaxation. No matter how junk you are, it still gives you. And you know, junk is good because you're starting something that you've never done before, okay? And maybe junk is not a good word to use, but you get the point.
Looks like people are having fun, which is good. Cloud hands is sort of the almost the signature movement. In fact, there was a descendant of relatively famous Yang teacher. The teacher was Yang Cheng Fu. His son either has passed away or is in his 80s. But he said, and he was one that wanted to make Tai Chi good for everyday people, make it more popular. And he said it's great to learn the different forms, learn 108, learn 42, or like us, 24, 16, 10. But not everybody can do all of those things, whether you say, well, 10 versus 24. But he felt, even if you could only do one, you would consider cloud hands, because there's a lot of elements in it. But cloud hands has some basic things which, when you think about where are we at, if you think about Tai Chi being derived from a martial art, what do you have to be attentive to in a martial art? Are you doing it in a vacuum if you were trying to learn a martial art? Probably not, because the purpose is to say, I am doing it in order to protect myself. What am I protecting myself from? Another person or opponent. So, position of the body, really important. Position of the hands. So, everything is someplace from here down to the floor. Okay, so you don't have to be way up here. You do, I've seen some people who show their Tai Chi, usually not the ones that are really teaching it a lot, because they're really using it for range of motion exercise if you do this. But if you try to stick to the philosophy of Tai Chi being derived from a martial art, you are looking around here. And you don't need to go all the way out here, you don't need to go all the way out here. When we go out here, we're not going all the way out. What are we doing? We turn our body, we turn our waist, okay? Here. We just turn our waist. And you're looking at the opponent, and the hands go for the right. The hands are always here, because what do you have to do? If something happens real fast, you should have your hands near the front of your body, or at least in the quote front. It happens that the front happens to be looking in this direction, but the hands are here, going for the ride. In the last minute, if something happens, bang, you block it away. But as you're moving, you're turning your attention, you're taking most of your strength. You know, it all looks like the hands, but what is happening is you are coming from your core. We haven't mentioned the core, but the core is this. See? I'm coming here and I'm keeping my core moving, and from here I'm going to come out. It's not from here. It's, if I had to do that, came from here, here. And so here out to the periphery, comes down, comes back this way, out to the periphery. And the same thing with this hand is coming across, but eventually, okay? So you two concepts. One, make sure you keep things in front of you. Not too high, not too low. As a measure, our master used to say, if you can look over your fingertips and see straight ahead, not looking here, but in Tai Chi posture, head up, that's where it should be, okay? And we know the ball should be usually just below the waist. And if you say, why am I doing, or why is this thing the way it is? It's meant to move. And if I were fighting, I'm looking at my opponent, but I'm covering my belly, just in case I'm looking for him to punch me in the face, but he's about to kick me in the stomach. I've got to have something here, see? And so you're practicing this. Okay? Also, just the basic, there's a temptation when we do Tai Chi, because it looks so beautiful. We're on our toes. You're not necessarily on your toes except for a good reason, okay? If you're on your toe, you better have what we call the substantial other portion, okay? Because if you're like this, you don't have good footing. You better have this leg very strong. But it's not when you're going in this direction, it's very hard to, like this, stay up in Tai Chi posture. You are likely to do this. And so what happens? Yes, your center of gravity is now going to fall forward. Okay, so when you turn, say we're here and we're going to do parting the horse's mane. Flat. You don't do this. It's great if you say, I want to create a dance impression, because this looks much more elegant, but we're not learning dance, we're learning Tai Chi, okay? And all of those movements. So you say, well, I stepped on my toe, I did my toes, if we did the crane, I'm on my toe, I'm on my dainty toe. But my stance is, I am in Tai Chi posture. I could put this foot anywhere I want, but I'm stuck to the ground, and I'm not leaning forward, I'm not leaning backwards, I'm not leaning this way or that way. So you have to, when you're this position, you have to make sure you have the proper grounding to allow you to do that. That means you have a substantial stance. Otherwise, if you're doing one of these and you think, whoa, somebody could pull me and I could fall on my nose. Okay, so that's another basic that you need to work on.
Let's get into the last parting of the wild horse's mane to the right, okay? Right foot ready to go, right hand on the bottom, right? Because the right hand, bottom hand advances. We're going to part the wild horse's mane. Everybody ready on a T stance? Out on an L, move that ball, part the wild horse's mane, get a good stretch, relax. Flip the forward hand so you no longer can see the palm. Join it with the back hand on a lower level so you can see the palm. Everybody got it on a bow stance, right? Sit back, lower. Don't do anything with your hands because Tai Chi is not hands. Pivot the front foot to 12 o'clock. What do you have? A stem, and you just turn your right hand to a cup. You're in this awkward, seemingly awkward position, but you are correct. We all have our left heel to now put weight on it so your toes naturally rise. Pivot out on that heel to the 9 o'clock. Two things happen. Flip the hands, join the feet. 12 o'clock, stem cup. 3 o'clock, two things happen. Ready? Flip the hands, toes lead the movement. Firm down at 12. 9 o'clock, two things happen. Flip the hands, toe leads the closing movement. Cloud hands can't go on forever. 3 o'clock, flip the hands, open the feet. Last rotation, going left. 9 o'clock, only flip the hands. Oh. 12 o'clock, cup. 3 o'clock, flip the hands, close the feet. That gets us going to the right now, right? 9 o'clock, flip the hands, open the feet. 12 o'clock, stem cup. We need to leave cloud hands and only flip our hands at 3. Because our left foot now at 12 o'clock is our posting grounded foot to turn us into a golden cockerel, okay? Then the other side. Then we're going to kick out, which is warm-up stuff. And if you come back and show me that you've done some homework, we can do another beautiful movement called grasping of the bird's tail, okay? One more time to get you to go from into cloud hands from parting the wild horse's mane. Are you in this T stance? Right hand on the bottom, holding your ball. Rooting down, showing me that you have energy. We're on a T stance, out on an L, move that ball, part the wild horse's mane. Here's your snack. Flip the forward hand, join it with the back hand. All right, let's do it again. Part the wild horse's mane. No movement of your feet or your core. All you do is flip the forward hand, join it with the back. You see the palm of your left hand only that's lower than the right. Sit back, lower. Don't do anything with your hand because they're being directed by your waist. We're on a sit back. What's the next step? Pivot. We're in 12 o'clock and we turn the right hand as if it were a cup. We pivot on the left heel to get out to 9 o'clock. Our hands, we don't worry about it. They're just connected to us. In the 9 o'clock position, two things happen. Flip the hand, join the feet. 12 o'clock, you're using your hips and waist, so you should be able to move and move. Two things happen. And two things happen. Only one thing happens because we're leaving cloud hands. Okay? Got it? Yeah, more or less, right? More or less. So back to reviewing the lesson, and then you've got it. You're going to cinch it down, okay? Come back, and then we'll adjust it a little bit more. And even with my teaching just a few minutes ago, I kind of forgot where we were because we've taken it out of context. But more or less, we get the general idea. And that's where we want to start, have a good start, get the general idea, come back, and then we can fix up the pukas and make ourselves a little better. Yeah. Ken says, look at yourself in the mirror, but do your cloud hands, okay? Do your cloud hands, and you ask yourself, hey, first worry only about whether you can move your hips and waist. That's major. As we age, these things get frozen, so we want to be able to just use our hips and waist.
On all of your maneuvers and your Tai Chi, don't think you're vain if you look in a plate glass window or you look in the mirror. What I'm trying to get you to do is you are doing what you're doing, but you don't know what you're doing until you look at it. You think you are following your teacher. Looking in a mirror and in a plate glass window while you do it will help you confirm as to whether you are or not.
Okay, good. And then also look at the videos, right? How many don't look at the videos? Yeah, I don't believe you can't look at your, yeah, you don't. All right, just for that, I'm gonna find a, oh yeah, because your foot are never seen, right? But every once in a while the camera will shoot you, and I'll keep it on that angle just so that, no, I think it's fun to watch yourself, even though it's funny, because Tai Chi is light. You should be able to enjoy yourself, okay? All right, good job. Okay, Happy New Year. See you next time.